Just it's good to remember the meaning of the word in Tibetan, to meditate, the verb to meditate. It's actually the verb, it's to become familiar, to familiarize. And that's a big surprise to us because we think meditation is sitting with our eyes closed and legs crossed and sort of having no thoughts. There's a very, very strong impulse to think of meditation like that, you know. And it's so strong in us, even if we're Buddhists, we still think it's like that. And it's not the meaning. I mean, there's two kinds of meditation, precisely two. One kind is called concentration. And the one that we have the idea of, that's that. But that's just the beginning. You know, all you're doing there is like sharpening the knife. And then you've got to do something with a knife. It has to have a purpose, and the knife then has to cut things. Well, the purpose here is to sharpen the mind, is in order to do the second mode of meditation, which is the entire point, which is where you literally familiarize your mind. When you say, well, with what? Well, you know, what? Two things, virtue and wisdom. That's it. The two wings of the bird, wisdom and virtue. So then you're utilizing a clear mind, a focused mind gained in the first mode, concentration, to then do the actual job of changing your mind. The first one, you can do that for 10 million years. It won't get you far. It just makes you feel nice. It's not the point at all. It's not even, technically, that's not even the meaning of meditation. It's called developing concentration. You use that mind then to do the second mode, to familiarize your mind with what? Well, with reality. And then with virtue. That's it. All the different kinds of things we need to familiarize our mind with, you know. So it's just good to remember that. So to do the first one, first kind, we need to have the body's involved. So we have to have the body in a kind of conducive position. So let's remind ourselves of that and put the body in this appropriate position if we can. It's about 7 or 8 points. So the first one, the ideal one, the best one, is to have the legs completely locked into this full lotus position, as they call it, each instep resting on the other thigh. And there's logical reasons for this. You know, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, in order to do the more advanced practices, you know, the body, in order to meditate, to be in this position, to have a single pointed mind, in order to be familiarizing our mind with emptiness. And that means for many of these great yogis, staying in that position, staying in meditation on emptiness for days and weeks on end without a break. This is the necessity in the long term. But in order to be able to be qualified to do that, you can't, if you have to, you know, you'll topple over if you sit any other way. So there's something about having the legs in full lotus. It keeps the body very stable. Of course, most of us can't do it. But if you can, fantastic. As His Holiness said, it's really auspicious to start our session, even just for a second, having the legs in that position kind of creates the cause, you know. So, of course, if we can't do that, we have in half lotus, as they call it. And if you can't do that, be ordinary cross-legged. And if not that, then we do our best. We sit in chairs, you know, we do our best. But it's good to know the point of these things, you know. So if we are sitting in a chair, what's crucial is not to be slumping into the back of the chair. Because the other point about this type of technique, the concentration one, which we're going to start with, it's not a relaxation technique. There's another huge misconception, even among Buddhists, you know. No, there are lots of relaxation techniques. Yoga teaches lots. And then you must relax and you go to sleep even better. Fantastic. We all need relaxing. But this is the opposite of relaxing. We're training the mind to be sharp and focused and steady. So that takes an enormous effort, you know. So to have the body slumping into a comfy chair is ridiculous in order to do concentration. So if you're in a chair, you sit upright, you know, which you have to do if you're sitting cross-legged. You can't slump, you'll fall over. But here you have to sit upright. So don't slump into the back. And then you have your feet firmly planted on the ground if you can, you know. And the next one is your hands. There's different positions or mudras or gestures taught. But the one we always learn, you know, is the left underneath, right on top like this, thumbs touching. And I think Venerable Renee was telling people recently, not certain things, but more like, I think that the tips of the thumbs resting. And I heard years ago, I don't know the source, there's something like 2 subtle channels in there related to bodhicitta. I heard like that. So like that. And resting in your lap, okay? But you don't have to. Other yogis do this. They have their hands up and their thumbs in their palms. There's many positions. But start with that if it's okay. Each of these points has a purpose, The next one, the main one. So then the other one they say is your shoulders upright, but relaxed, not tense. But I would add to that the entire body. If we're sitting upright, we tense our muscles. So keep upright, but relax the muscles. Be upright, but relax the muscles. Then the head. Several things about the head. It's been found by the great yogis, if the head is too sitting upright, too straight, then the body gets agitated. If your head is too down, you go to sleep. So it's, again, a nice balance of slightly tilted forward, chin tucked in a bit. The next one is the jaw relaxed and the lips slightly apart and the tip of the tongue resting behind the top teeth. Again, all the yogis have been found over the centuries that this prevents you from dribbling, because when they're trying to sit there long-term meditating, it's inconvenient to dribble. Apparently, like that. And then your eyes. Again, the great yogis have found those who meditate day and night, and they're meditating during the day. It's good to have light coming in because it keeps the mind sharp. But for most of us, of course, if we have our eyes open because we're so still at the sensory level, we're too distracted. So have your eyes lightly closed, but have your eyes beneath your eyelids looking down, as if you're looking along your nose towards the ground. So settle into that position. Your legs, your hands, shoulders, neck, chin, jaw, tongue, lips, eyes. Settle into this position. And then you forget about the body because the body doesn't meditate. It is not a physical experience. But because we're so caught up on our sensory experiences, if we like to sit cross-legged, we think, oh, I had a nice meditation because we felt good. It is not the criterion of a good meditation, I promise. It's useful to feel good in your body. It's not the sign of success. So now this enables us now to do the job of familiarizing our mind with wisdom and virtue. So, of course, this first type of meditation, there's various little techniques that we can use to help the mind stay steady, to help the mind stay focused. There's lots of little techniques. So we'll do one of those, which is called the 9-round breathing. This is often done first. It steadies the subtle wind energy as well, the wind energy, the breath coming in and out, as well as our mind. Because in the Vajrayana system, we have a subtle body made up of these 72,000 channels. And coursing through these channels is all this wind or prana, the wind energy. And our minds are inextricably, all our different states of mind are inextricably linked to these different wind energies. So by calming the breath, because the mind is connected to the breath, it calms the mind. Let's do this 9-round breathing. It's a nice technique in itself, but it's usually done as a preliminary, but we'll just do it and we'll see how long. So basically what we're doing here, there's slightly different ways of doing it. The Lamas teach differently. So basically we're doing 3 sets of 3 breaths. And we're thinking as we're doing it, we're imagining purifying the 3 poisons. So when we breathe, I always forget which it is, but never mind, we'll do it. Even if it's wrong, it doesn't matter. We'll just get used to the idea. So we do 3 breaths where we breathe out completely. We visualize all the attachment energy. I think this is right. Through the right nostril. I really forget, I'm so sorry. All your attachment, which means your dissatisfaction, your agitation, your neediness, your feeling you don't have enough, your hunger, all of this energy, craving, all of this energy, attachment. You imagine breathing it out and you visualize. As you breathe out, you visualize it going out like yucky smoke, disappearing into space. And you do that 3 times. So of course, each time you have to then breathe in. So when you breathe in, as Lama Yeshe says too, you can visualize through the other nostril, the left nostril, you breathe in all the blissful energy of the world, the opposite to attachment energy, your own potential. And you breathe it in like white light that comes in and then drives out through the right nostril all the unhappy attachment energy. So it's this nice circular motion, you know, breathing out all the yuck, breathing in light, and that washes out, pushes out to the other nostril, all the attachment energy. And then you reverse and you think of anger energy. It's probably the right, I don't know, I can't remember. Can you remember? Have you done it before?
Then we're going to
Let's do it this way, never mind.
Oh.
Then the second set is anger, aversion, irritation, upset, sort of this energy of sort of a kind of irritation. This is anger. So we visualize just the same thing. 3 out, like yucky smoke, and then you breathe in the opposite nostril, the opposite, the patient, clear, like light coming in and pushing out the anger 3 times. And then the third lot, you breathe in through both and 3 out through both. And that's kind of ignorance, indifference, uncaring energy. And just thinking this, visualizing, thinking it as you do that. And meanwhile, also it has the benefit of steadying our mind because the breath is connected. And don't do forceful breaths, but do complete breaths, okay? Out. I don't remember. I'll look at it today and we'll check again next time I come. But just do 3 out, attachment out through the right, anger out through the left, and then ignorance out through both. And then the light coming in through the opposite at your own pace. If you forget what you're doing, just start again. Just it's a very nice meditation in itself, okay? Now, with our steadied mind, let's just do, 10 minutes, just contemplate this idea of equanimity, okay? It's the first of the techniques in the development of bodhicitta. And it's a very precise attitude. So sometimes when we hear these words, love, equanimity, compassion, we kind of mix them all up together, but they're very precisely different states of mind. And it's helpful to just to understand the conceptual meaning behind each one. So equanimity is the starting point, but for the wish then to begin to develop love for sentient beings. So love is defined as the thought, may you be happy. That's love. That's the meaning. So of course you grow it hugely, then you have it for everybody. Then compassion is, may you not suffer. They're different states of mind. Compassion, you see the suffering and you wish they didn't have it. You see a person, you want them to be happy. So of course on the Bodhisattva path, we start with equanimity, which is the logic for why we want to have everybody be happy and not suffer, and I'll explain it. And then on the basis of that love and compassion, you then develop this brave attitude of the Bodhisattva, what they call great compassion. Compassion is, may they not suffer. And then the next one, great compassion, is, I will make it happen. What can I do to make it happen? That's the brave attitude. And that all leads then eventually to this bodhicitta. Let's just look at equanimity. Okay? So think in front of you, just visualize, imagine in front of you, right in front of you, a person at the moment you don't like, who's hurt you, person maybe for 20 years you don't like, who's hurt you, especially if they've hurt you, harmed you, rejected you, blamed you, or even just a person who irritates you, right in front. That's called an enemy. We mightn't use that word, but that's the object of anger, the object of aversion. Just put them right there. See them right there. Just put their face there. And then to the left, your beloved. If you have a beloved right now, a person you adore, which means a person you're attached to, an object of your attachment. Could be a baby, could be your grandchild, could be your beloved boyfriend, could be your mother, anybody who you love. And so attached to is the main point. You have attachment for them. So they appear beautiful. The object of the aversion appears not beautiful. We know that. And then the person to the right is a stranger. So just put someone's face there, from work or home, who walks down the street, put their face there. But that stranger, so there were the three people. What is a friend in these definitions? What is an enemy and what is a stranger? Well, in this case, these are the objects of the three poisons. The three poisons are the three main delusions that run the universe, So here it's in relation, we're using the three poisons here in relation to people and beings, So to the person to the left in front of you, your friend, you have attachment for them. And then because they fulfill your attachment's needs, then you are prepared to love them. So that's the person you love. That's the only one we tend to want to be happy. It's the only one we want not to suffer. All of our love and compassion, as Lama Zopa says, they're unstable. They're only for the friend. And the point is, that love and compassion for the friend, for the beloved, it could be your pet, is contingent upon them doing what your attachment wants. I mean, if you're in love with a person, then they cheat on you, and because they stop doing what your attachment wants, they go from the friend category to the enemy, don't they? That's why. So all of our love and compassion right now are completely limited because they're contingent upon my getting my needs fulfilled. I mean, we should be shocked by this, but when we analyze it, we see it's true. And this is the whole world. Humans, monkeys, dogs, friends, enemies, and strangers, They're the definitions of attachment, based on attachment. So what Buddha's saying is, and this on the Mahayana path, attempting to get to bodhicitta, where we only think of all others, what we're trying to do is have love and compassion for everybody. But with the basis now, it's too hard for us. We think of the person who's cheated on us, who's lied to us, who's harmed us, and they did do it. It doesn't seem reasonable. Why should I want them to be happy? Because we can't find the logic. Because the logic is ego's logic, which is not logic. So we're trying to shift that. We're trying to argue. In these meditations, we're trying to argue with that illogic. So what's the main point here in equanimity? It's very precise. Equanimity when you've got it from doing these contemplations, is a very clear, heartfelt recognition that the so-called friend, the so-called enemy, and the so-called stranger, this is the point now, from their point of view, they are equal to each other. They are the same as each other from one point of view. And that point of view is that each of them only wants to be happy, and each of them only wants not to suffer. And what all equanimity is in doing these analyses is we're trying to prove that to ourselves. That's what we're trying to do here. Not just get some gooey feeling, you know. It's very logical. So we haven't got much time. We'll use this one little piece of logic that I like to use. It's very clear, you know. What we're trying to prove is that a person we call enemy, a person we call friend, and a person we call stranger, in their own selves, whether they're monsters or saints is not the issue, but within themselves, we know this, they only want to be happy, and they only don't want to suffer. So one logical reason is this. Think of yourself now with these three people in front of you. Now look now at your friend. And they're looking at you, and what they see is a friend, isn't it? Because it's mutual right here. They're attached to you, and then they see a friend. So they see a lovely picture when they see you. You make them feel happy. So all they see is a lovely person, a friend. So for that person, you're called a friend. Now look at your enemy, because they hate you as much as you hate them. You annoy them, you upset them, you know, they don't like you, you appear awful to them. So all they see is an enemy. All they see is an ugly person. So then now you're an enemy for somebody. And the third person, the stranger, just like with you, they couldn't care less. They vaguely look at you, but because you've neither harmed them nor helped them, which is why we call a person a stranger, then they couldn't care about you. So they see an indifferent, boring person. So you are one person, and you know in yourself whether you, for one person, whether you're called a friend, for the other person, whether you're called an enemy, or for the other person, you're called a stranger. You know in your heart every second you are only wanting to be happy. You are only wanting not to suffer. It's obvious. But because of attachment and aversion and ignorance, when we look at the world out there, we can't see that. All we see is the projections of our own delusions. We see these three people through the lenses of our needs. Those who fulfill our needs, we call them lovely. And they're the ones we want to be happy and don't want to suffer. And we think, aren't we loving and kind? I'm so compassionate. I love my grandchildren. No, you're attached to them. Yes, you also do love them, but it's contingent upon your attachment getting what it wants. The enemy, you can't stand the sight of them. You only remember their bad things. You only remember the hurt and the meanness and the unkindness. You don't remember anything else. And so you paint them with that picture. So you're seeing them through the lenses of your attachment, which in this case is thwarted. So you have aversion for them, and you have to struggle not to want them to suffer. You certainly don't want them to be happy, and you don't want them not to suffer. You don't have love and compassion for them because they don't do what you want. It's very clear. We can see it. And then the stranger, only because they've neither harmed nor helped you. That's the logical reason, illogical reason that ego uses for calling a person a stranger, because they haven't touched our lives. So we don't care about them. Indifference. We can see this. This is the universe. Monkeys, ants, dogs, rats, all beings live in these three poisons. So even just this little bit of logic, I mean, I'm talking away, not giving you much time to contemplate it. It is clear they're not logical. It is clear. So what we're trying to do is, if we're trying to, on the Bodhisattva path, grow love and compassion for all of them, we have to use this logical reason, which is that they all want it. So right now, we only want a person to be happy if they make me happy. But we're trying to shift that to, I want everyone to be happy because they want to be happy. And in equanimity, you're proving that point, that everybody wants to be happy. Nobody wants to suffer. So just sit with that for a second. So we conclude with these 4 immeasurable thoughts, these marvelous thoughts of the Bodhisattva, you know. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could abide in equanimity, free of attachment, aversion, and ignorance. May they abide so. But this next point is the brave attitude of the Bodhisattva. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could be free of suffering and its causes. That's compassion. It's the meaning of it. May they be free. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings could have happiness and its causes. Lama Zopa always adds there to remind us of the happiness of enlightenment, you know, as well. That's called love. May you be happy. That's the meaning, the definition of love. May they have them. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never parted from never parted from higher rebirths and liberation's excellent bliss. May they never be parted. I will make this happen. Please, Guru Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. So now we just carry on the rest of our day, how much left of it, with this wish, you know, remembering our goal, learning every second. And then, of course, being like, the Bodhisattvas say that when we're with others, we watch our body and speech. When we're on our own, we watch our mind. So we try to do that. And be happy we've done this 30 minutes of a few thoughts, okay? All right, precious ones. Thank you. Much love.